time because of the connection. Yeah, let's started. So, yeah, today we'll be seeing the week zero day two tutorial about data science workflow increase modeling. So this will help us to see for all the projects that we're going to deal after this. They are going to definitely they're going to be related with data, and they're going to have some problem, and we need to make some decision based on our work. So what does that mean? What steps do we need to follow while dealing with all the projects or with all these types of problem that we're going to do after this? So here there are some officially accepted by the industry, some models that are officially accepted by this type of industry, and then so it is going to be useful to follow those types of those steps. So we'll just easily, it is so easy, so we're just going to see and analyze, okay, this is the steps, this is what we need to follow, and if we need to change how we're going to work or how we're going to deal, then we can make some modification to the existing model, but that is the base that we're going to follow. So why structured workflow in data science? The first one is, so am I hearing some voice? Um, okay. So importance of process in data science workflow. What is the point, or what do we need? Why do we need to to follow some processes? So the first one is we need to ensure projects meet business objective, deadlines, and budgets. So we're going to deal with projects that have that are going to bring some uh, enhancement or some improvement to the business, and also we're going to be given a deadline for that specific project. So we need to meet that deadline, and also there's a budget. So how are we going to be able to meet those specific requirements of the business with our work? So we need to prepare a workflow or a process. We need to be careful about what type of process and workflow we're going to use, and they minimize risk or failure or scope creep. So um, while this type of projects, or uh, while doing this type of projects, so there's a chance, there's every time a chance of not we can't see the PPT. Abiwak, he said, uh, I guess the other people are seeing the PPT. Maybe it's your connection. Okay. So yeah, there's always a risk. So we need to put the risks, or there are these types of risk, or this type of this percent of failure for this project that we're going to try to minimize the risk, right? So what type of measurements are we going to use in order to minimize the risk? So what is the overview, or what are the main points? What are the main steps in data science? There's the problem definition, the data acquisition, data preparation, modeling, evaluation, deployment, monitoring, and maintenance. So these are the whole step, or mostly the typical states that are followed in data science workflow. So we might not be dealing with every steps. Maybe we are going to be provided with data most of the time in our projects, but the whole process will also include collecting the data and data acquisition and preparation steps also. So we're going to see what do we mean by, or we need to be familiar with those words. So we're going to see what do we mean by those each steps. So there are common frameworks or workflow frameworks for data science: the CRISP, the KDD, the OSMAIN, and the brief comparison. So mostly we're going to use the CRISP, just to mention that there's the KDD, knowledge discovery in database, OSMAIN, which is obtain, scrap, explore, model, interpret, and the brief comparison, it's a table format, just putting your workflow in a table format instead of just following the detailed states. So mostly we're going to deal with the CRISP name. It is said that like the data science workflow is more flexible than the CRISP DA. So it's just a data mining process. So it is rigid. By rigid, we mean that there are some steps. So people are going to strictly follow those steps if they are going to use the CRISP DA model. Uh, Mostly it is used if we have a specific use case, like for a specific company for this type of purpose, then the CRISP day model is mostly appreciated. But all in one, they are so related, and they are going to follow, they are following the same basic approach and states. So we're going to see that. First, we saw this, right? We saw this typical states in that site workflow, right? So in one of the models or the workflows, which is the CRISP, we're going to follow almost the same type of workflow. So this is the business understanding, data preparation, modeling, evaluation, and deployment is the typical stages on CRISP data mining phase overview. So mostly you can on your project, while doing on your projects, you're going to follow the CRISP or the data science workflow. It is going to be fine because they are so related, and you can also make some modification as long as you understand those this important steps. As long as you understand those steps, so you can just enhance them or modify them on like what in as whatever you want. The point is those are the major parts, and you need to include all of them, um, and you can choose how you're going to include them. So the first one is business understanding. What do we mean by the business understanding part? So this phase involves defining the business problem opportunities, identifying the goals and objective of the project, and determining the key performance indicators or the KPIs. So we're going to deal with a problem, right? Specific companies providing us this problem, and they need this problem or this scenario to be solved. So we need to understand the business, what is the problem and what opportunities do we have in order to tackle those problems, and what is the goal and also the objective. So what is the KPI? So what type of things do we need to fulfill in order the company, or we can say that we have fulfilled the goal. We've made it to the goal or to the end. So what type of things do we need to identify and to state? So um, the first step is to understand the business, the KPIs, the goals, the problems. So define business problems and objectives, identify KPIs and success criteria. Example, okay, we need to reduce churn in telecom. Okay, this is the goal. This is what is the problem. So what are the KPIs? So we're going to see this in an example later, but the first task will be the business understanding. So this will also help you to like have seen some questions on about reporting. So this is what we will expect you to put even while reporting. Okay, so while you're writing your report, so we need to see from the beginning that how good or how well you have understood the business, right? And then the other steps will continue. So after understanding the business and the problem, so what we're going to where we're going to go next is to the data. So we have this data, we are provided or we have collected this data, and we are supposed to solve this problem using those data. Okay, so we need to check the data. How well are the data prepared, or how good they are, and how are they going to be helpful in order to achieve our goal that is mentioned on number one. So the phase involves identifying and collecting relevant data, understanding the data source quality and structure, handling missing values, outlier, and data normalization, which means while while you're provided with a data, uh, the data quality always is not that to the maximum. Okay, so you need to make some improvements, enhancements to the data so that you can make them more clean, more reliable. So there's the data understanding part. On the data understanding, you can just see that how well, how good the data are, how even relevant the data are, and then you can make some measurement. So identify, collect, and explore relevant data, assess data quality structures and gaps, like the data source for churn prediction, for example, what is the demographic, in which area are the data collected, the usage, the billing, and the feedback of the data. Then after understanding the data, the third step will be the data preparation. So this will involve, after understanding the source and the other things, and the from 100% how clean the data is, how relevant the data is, and then we're going to come to make the data more reliable, clean, transforming. So we know at this stage we know the backlash of the data, right? So we're going to try to fulfill that gap. So we're going to cleanly transform, pre-processing the data. We can handle missing values, outliers. Outliers, it mean that like within some, let's say that there are we have collected the age of a data, or the age of the age of a people in specific environment. So let's say most of the people there are young people, so that they're like from 18 to 13 or 25. So like seeing those data, that is the expectation of you to see the number, or that is the expectation of the data that you're going to get. But if you've seen the number 49 or 50, so that is called an outlier. So you were not expecting that data, but you've found one or two those types of data, so you can consider those data as an outlier. So you will you might make some decisions or some measurements based on your view. Okay. Normalization transfer. So there are different type of preparing different measurement of data preparation, like normalization, transforming categorical variable into numerical variable. So you can make those measurements. So those steps are included on the data preparation parts. So handling missing values, outlier normalization. Example one, hot encoding standardization for telecom data. Yeah, so you might also follow some specific standardization for all of your data in order to follow. So you can also make that here in the data preparation part. And then we have the data, we have a prepared data, or we have cleaned the data as much as we can. So the next thing will be modeling. Okay. So this phase will involve developing and training models using machine learning or statistical techniques, evaluating model performance using metrics like accuracy, precision, recall, and AOC, or it's called area under the curve, and ROC, and selecting the best performing model. So modeling means then what are we preparing the data in order to feed it for some machine learning model, right? So that in order to predict or in order to get an output from that. So what are we going to do is we need to select and train machine learning or statistical models. Uh, so that aligns with our goal. So for different type of scenarios and business objectives, since there are different type of machine learning models, we might use different type. Okay, like which specific machine learning model is suitable for this specific case. So we need to make those types of decision for different type of cases or scenarios. There might be a specific machine learning model that is preferred. Okay, so what type of we can see it here, okay? What type of scenario or cases are you dealing with, and based on that you can make decision on your machine learning models, or like specific machine learning model that you're going to use. So also, like moving to your reporting format here. So on the after mentioning your data preparation techniques that you have used, when you reach the modeling part, you can mention that I am using this type of machine learning model because my scenario, or this case, or this business objective uh, is dealing with this specific type of, what is that? It's, are you trying to predict credit? Are you trying to do, I mean, credit scoring, or are you trying to detect fraud? What are you doing? So like for that specific case, this machine learning model is based suitable because of this distance. So you might need to include those types of verifications or identification process on your report. So you need to select and train machine learning or statistical models. And then there is the model selection. You can use the logistic regression, decision tree, different type of models, the deep, the neural network models. There are many types of models. And then there's the cross validation and hyperparameter tuning. So you will check whether you're going to cross validate, or like how validate, or how 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 my specific training model is had performed on on the specific data. Okay. And then hyperparameter tuning means you can tune the hyperparameters of the model so that you can yield a better result, or a better prediction. And then after modeling, there's the evaluation part. So there are different steps of evaluating, or methods of evaluating, or there are different metrics. The metrics that you're seeing here, I'm sorry. Yeah, the precision, the recall, the accuracy, the AUC, ROC curve. Using those metrics, the higher the accuracy, the higher the precision. And there's the recall, which compares the accuracy and the precision. And you can see the AUC, ROC graph by just graphing it. And then you can say, okay, while evaluating those models on my specific data, this is the results that I'm getting. So based on those results that I have got, I can say that my model is performing good on this specific scenario. Or you can just say that, no, this model is performing poorly on the specific scenario. So maybe I need to make some other measurements like hyperparameter tuning or another measurements, or I can just choose another machine learning model. Okay, and then you can analyze feature importance to understand which variable contributes most to the prediction, like key factor influencing the customer churn. Like, is that the data, is that the model, is that the specific thing or parameter that I have used on the model, which parameter has played the major role on the prediction. Okay, identifying that will help us to, if we're doing good, then we can continue using those parameters or specific things that we've used for the future. But if that is the problem, then we can change or we can tune those features. And finally is the deployment. After evaluating our model, then we can deploy the selected model in production, integrate the models into the other companies or major data so that everyone can see them, everyone can use them, and we can use the model to predict I mean, forget about the customer churn in this specific scenario, but everyone can use it and every type of data can use it, okay? And then monitoring and maintenance, once it is deployed and once everyone had, I mean, it's officially in use, then you need to monitor and maintain, like how the performance is going. Do we need other modification? Do we need a repairment? So, okay, we need to update the model prediction. So we need to monitor it and maintain it. So these are the main 7 steps that we're going to use on the CRISP modeling, okay? Yeah, so like now let's see it, here the phases were like the data preparation, the modeling, the evaluation, the deployment, right? What type of projects? Okay, like I was saying that we can use different type. We might prefer different type of machine learning models for different scenarios, and what could be the different business project and what crisp game application. Okay, like let's see the telecom churn prediction. Like we might want to reduce. The telecom churn for the next specific months, okay, which is you need to put a very little amount. I mean, you need to make sure that there are going to be a little amount of numbers that are going to uh, that the telecom company will lose for the next specific time of um, for the next specific time. So the business problem is reducing customer churn, and then crisp game cycle case study, like we can use the full model, and maybe credit risk for banking. So here, if the project type is like credit risk for banking, so you need to predict the business will be, you need to predict loan default, okay? Uh, so the bank needs to decide, or you're helping the bank to decide for who to give loans and for who to not give the loans, because it's very risky to give those people the loan because they're not going to pay back. So you need to identify the banks, which peoples are on the credit zone, I mean on the risk zone, okay? So here that you can use the crisp game application on the data preparation, the modeling, the evaluation. E-commerce recommendation might be the project type. So the business problem will be suggestions. So this means that for the people who who are probably interested on that specific e-commerce business, you need to bring the suggestion more often, okay? So that based on the suggestion that you're giving for those people, the sale number will increase. So the CRISP model will be the data understanding, modeling, and again the deployment. And the retail demand forecasting, which is the retail demand forecasting means what type of demand might a specific retail business or a business, like what type of demand will be coming through for the next specific months. Okay, so like the business problem here is to optimize inventory. Also the crisp on the application of crisp game application, we can apply the data preparation time series modeling. So based on time, you can predict the specific months there will be this number of applications, on the next this number, okay? So there could be different type of project types. You need to identify the project problem like this, and you can apply the crisp game modeling. So in this case study, the goal was like to see the specific. I mean, I thought it was that's page. So like the goal was to see the telecom company or the predict customer churn for a telecom company, which is reduce the customer churn by identifying high risk customers and offering targeted retention offers. Maybe like you can participate from your side. Do you understand this project, or I mean the specific? Let's do the case study on the telecom churn, and maybe can you say that what is the business understanding, your business understanding. So if you're trying to predict, or if you're trying to predict customer churn for a telecom company, what is probably its, what are you trying to do? What is the your business understanding from your point of view? Maybe if there is someone who can interact here, what would be the business understanding, the KPI, and other things from your side? Have you understood the question? Yeah, okay. Okay, the question is like, imagine like let's try to deal, or let's try to make a case study on a specific scenario which is reducing churn rate on a telecom company. Okay, so based on that, what do you think is your business understanding? On the business understanding part, we have mentioned the the identifying the goal, identifying the KPIs. So how is your success, how your success is going to be measured, and other steps, right? So what could be the KPIs in your point of view? What could be the objective or the measurement to measure your success? Okay, Nabil, you can go.
Yeah, so what you're going to have is you're going to have customer retention rate, customer lifetime value, as well as customer acquisition costs. So for churn, it lets you know how much you're actually retaining your customers, how much money you're making from your customers over their total lifetime, and how much it costs you to get their acquisitions. So that helps you map churn to actual financial KPIs for the company. Those are just a few of them. There are many more if you really want to get deep into it.
Exactly. Thank you, Nabil. So those are the like it could be, you might not have specific yeah, you might not have specific type of I mean, we might not expect specific type of identification from you all. So since it is, you can just go by you can just guess, or you can just go by analyzing it. Okay, what type of steps do we need for a specific scenario? So we don't expect a very the same type of answer from all of you. So yeah, thank you, Nabil. And you can if there's other people that who can participate and help on this, that would be good. Ramidan, I guess. Ramidan Ridwan, he said making sure to keep or retain important clients. Yeah, exactly. That is the business objective, right? Yeah. We can count on that. If there's other people who can participate, Nabil again.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that for a lot of, especially business related KPIs, a lot of what ends up really happening is they have a lot of resources already available on the internet in books. So you can essentially look at what KPIs are already well defined, and then you can look at the data that they have available for you and map your existing data to the KPIs that are available. So it's about making the best of whatever data you have available, because you're not always given whatever you need, and you just make the best of what you have, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes like that. That is exactly what I'm saying. So we don't need to identify specific or the same type of problems and KPIs and business understanding. So we can refer different type of sources, as you said. We can get the best out of every questions and every steps, even on the crisping steps. The, in order to get the best out of every steps, we can search different type of platforms, and we can do a low search. I guess that is what Nabil was trying to say, right?
That's exactly it. Just making the best of whatever you have and mapping them to best practices for what's already established. That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Nabil. So that is what I meant also. So everyone try to be free and try to understand the concept and just come up with every identification or your own, since like try to understand. There will be the business objective every time you have given a project. On top of it, there will be the business objective. So try to understand the business objective to the best, and then you can mention your own problem. And I mean, you can not mention, you can just rewrite and understand the problem understanding on your own way, on your own language, and also you can put the KPIs and any of them, and then you can start working on the specific things that you've mentioned. In my opinion, Teddy Grandma, you say, yeah, it's your facts to enhance the service given for their customers and keep them happy. That might be that could be counted as one of the goals or the success measurements. Percent of customers leaving the service during a specific period. So what how can we mention that, like as what Teddy as the, I mean, it is going to be one of the inputs. Percent of customers leaving the service during a specific period will be an input for us, so that in order to determine what specific thing is happening on that period that makes the customers leaving. So um, that would be part of the problem understanding process. The infrared said, in my opinion, since we're talking about a telecom company, I believe availability, strong connectivity, and confidentiality can be considered as a KPI. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. But strong connectivity and confidentiality can be considered as a KPI. But here, by KPI, I mean, it's good. I like it. So, like maybe guys, here we're trying to mention the KPIs is like in order to understand, in order to say, let's see, for the uh, measure the terms that we've put, like here, determine the key performance indicators, like what is the goal, objective of the project. So like the objective of the project is not about increasing the connectivity or increasing the reachment. The objective is like might be like on this the telecom turn company, the objective might be like in order to increase or in order to keep the people or who are already on your list, to keep them there. Okay, so there might be some measurements that you're going to take, like increasing the connectivity and other things and other things. So the thing that we're trying to do now is which measurement will have or will yield the main player in order to keep those people, right? So what measurements do I need? So here uh, increasing the availability or strong connectivity and the confidentiality is part of the result that we're going to get. So we might get at the end of our analysis, we might get, okay, increasing the connectivity of that company, I mean, increasing the internet connectivity of the environment will increase or will keep our uh, customers in touch with us, or this factor is not going to make uh, is not going to make them go away to another provider. So this will be something that we're going to analyze at the end of the project. And Firad, thank you. So that's regarding KPIs. Do we have to look for generic KPIs for such problem, or should we identify specific to the problem at hand? Both are available. Both are going to be correct measurement to do. So like make it general and also make it specific. Be very helpful. So the projects will be the projects that you're going to be given will be specific to some company. We're going to give you a company name, a situation. So like you need to see it from the general perspective, also from the perspective from the specific perspective. Exactly. Nabil had said KPI should always be specific to the problem at hand. Yeah, but also seeing the general perspective, it's not going to be bad, because most of the industry, most of the if they are working on the same industry or if they're working on the same sector, they can share a general KPIs. So it's not going to be bad to look at them, but we need to be specific. One of the business goal can be finding out the reason for the exactly what is the reason. That is the Milkisa said. One of the business goal can be finding out the reason for the churn. So that is the major goal. Uh, Number of new customers. Another KPI can be service types. What are the services that are used frequently? So I guess there are many of you have participated here. Thank you. Natasavia said, and also gender distribution. Um, Sorry, and also gender distribution can be seen as one of KPI measurements. Yeah. Okay, so like maybe this will be part of the while seeing or while analyzing the data. There's the data understanding part, right? We need to see the gender distribution there so that we can see I mean, if there's a difference, which gender is using our uh, I'm sorry, I was there was a connection problem. I'm back, right? So yeah, we will say that we need to focus on this specific uh, gender, and we're going to make we're going to make more how we're going to keep those specific genders more. Okay, then I guess I'm the Mikhail is the equation. Am I audible, you guys?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. Okay, I'm the Mikhail. You've raised your hand. If that is a question, then you can go on. So I guess there are more chats on the chat section. I'm the Mikhail. You've raised your hand. Is that for a question? If there's a question, then you can go. Okay. If not, then we can continue. Here, so like we were on. We're here. So determine the KPIs like customer churn rate, customer retention rate, and revenue growth. Um, So yeah, how are we going to keep the customers? How are we going to minimize specifically, or the main goal here is going to be, I mean, the main KPI is going to be the customer churn rate. So in order, since we're trying to decrease the churn rate, so that would be the major KPIs and other related things you can go and you can count on by yourself. And then there's the data understanding part. So since we're provided with the specific data that we need to check, identify the data source, like the demographic service usage patterns, billing, payment history, and customer complaints and feedbacks. And then understanding the data quality. We've mentioned that in the earlier discussion or before. So we need to make the data understanding. So now we have the business understanding. We've understood the data. Then we need to prepare it like collect and combine data from various sources. So we might vary the data that we're bringing based on the demographic, based on the service usage pattern, the billing, the payment, so and other patterns. So we need to have more collective or a data that is going to cover that have information about most of the environments that we're trying to make our prediction for. Handling missing values and using imputation techniques. So, like in order to handle the missing values, we might put or we might bring the data to the mean or the median. We're going to see on this on the technical sessions that we're going to have on the other week. So here is the main steps that we're going to follow. Transform categorical variable to numerical, normalize data using standardization. So there are different type of methods that we need to follow or that we can follow on the data preparation part. So since data is a very sensitive part of the project, having a very good data, a clean data, and a relevant data means having a relevant output at the end of our prediction. So we need to be careful on the data preparation part. And then the modeling, we will split the data to the training and testing sets. So we will use some of the data in order to train our model. So training our model means teaching the model the pattern of our data or the pattern of the situations happening here, okay? And then the testing sets means, which is we're going to use the trained model now, which is familiar with this scenario in order to test it on the new data. So we can see the evaluations, or we can see the performance of the model based on our testing sets. So here we will divide the data to 80-20, which is 80 for training and 20% for testing the data. Develop trained machine learning models using logistic regression, decision tree, random forest, gradient boosting machines, and different type of machine learning models which are suitable for the specific project. And then we will evaluate the model for performance using the metrics that we've talked about, like the accuracy, precision, recall, AUC, ROC curves, and compare the model performance so that we can use, or we can decide which base model is performing good on our specific case. It's your facts, you've raised your question. I mean, your hand. You can go on.
Sorry for the interruption. But what are the criteria used to select the models? Is there any criteria?
Yes, yes. Okay, so there are different criteria in order for you to select the which model is going to be based for the scenario. So first, mostly it's the data. So the data, yeah. The From the data perspective, it can be the type of the data, it can be the amount of the data. Uh, Also, it can be whether the data is clean, and also it might also be your system. So how your system is going to perform for every different model. So uh, there is this. There are models that you might prefer. You might use them for classification problems, which is whether if you're trying to classify a specific thing, like this is maybe for the fraud detection, your output might be this is fraud and this is not fraud. Okay, so like this is classification problem. So you're going to use the classification models, not the regression models. For the exactly also on the goal we want, as Shanafi said, like also for the logistic regression. So like you are maybe predicting a probability. Okay, you're not just trying to say this is a dog, this is a cat. So this is like um, if you're not trying to classify, or if you're not trying to put a group of data in a specific patterns, then there you might use the logistic regression learning models. And also if you're trying to use uh, on the like or if you might use that based on your data. For example, if you prefer to use the neural network type of machine learning models, you need to have a very large amount of data so that they will predict a very precisely than the traditional models, but they need more data, they need more computational powers. So if you are uh, yeah, okay. If you're available to give that data and that computational power, and it would be based to move to the neural network machine learning model. So we're going to see different type of models on our projects practically. So there are these types of measurements, like your data type, the problem that you're trying to solve, the scenario, whether it's classification or whether it's regression, the amount of data that you have, those are going to be some of the metrics that you need to consider in order to decide which type of machine learning model to use. But we're going to see uh, in detail later. So it's your facts, is that clear? It's your facts. Am I breaking, or maybe it's your facts is not able to hear me? Are you guys able to hear me? Okay, thank you, Nata. Thank you. And also in the chats. Okay, Teddy, you can go on.
Okay. I have also a question on modeling case. So can you just elaborate on the hyper parameters you real your scenario? Thank you.
Okay, so like for now. Okay. Hyperparameter training with scenario. I mean, it would be clearer with an example. Just for this session, we're just trying to touch what are the steps that we need to follow. We're going to see there is a specific session or tutorial, maybe I guess on week 4 or 3 about hyperparameter tuning. So we're going to see the details and the demo presentations there. But for now, just we're trying to see there's this concept called hyperparameter tuning. It will help you to get the best out of your model by just tuning or by just changing some parameters that are included on your model. There are different type of parameters on modeling that you're going to see while starting to work with them. Uh, it is not same for every model, so changing a little bit those parameters, they are just numbers. The weight, there are different, but we're going to see. So changing those parameters a little bit will might change the performance of the model. So that is the concept where we're going to see the uh, so the point is, if we're going to use the see the hyperparameter tuning part now or a specific demo now, so it means that we're going to we need to see the whole process starting from the data preparation and then the data splitting preparation, then modeling, then cross validation, hyperparameter tuning, and then the evaluation. So this is going to be a huge or a lot of I mean, or seeing the whole project that is going to be huge. So that is why we're going to break them for into different steps. So starting from the data preparation part, we're going to see the demonstration on the later or on the coming tutorial or sessions. Really, are we clear? But I feel
Yeah.
I hope that you got the point. Okay.
Yeah.
So here, I guess there are some questions. Nabil, actually, you're right. KPIs are not okay. I guess Abdulaziz and Nabil were talking about the KPIs, and then model selection also depends on the goal we want to achieve. Ashanafi, exactly. How can we select performance metrics? Performance metrics, mostly you don't need to select. I mean, you can just use every matrix, but you can just decide that which specific performance matrix is telling me which specific performance metrics matter the most. Okay, is that the accuracy? Is that the precision? Is that the ROC curve? Which one? So you're going to decide based on that. But mostly, it's not a bad idea to. It is just a good idea to use all performance metrics and to measure your model on every performance metrics. But later you will just okay, accuracy weights more than precision. So if you have the best accuracy, I don't care what the precision is going to be. So you can make that decision. But for the concept, you can just go with every performance metrics. Na Nanica Kabada, I guess, I hope it is clear. Abdulaziz, model selection also depends on problem type, data size, and quality. True. Sanyi Girma, what is feature engineering in data preparation and why is it important? So feature engineering means assuming that you have the data, right? So you might want another thing or another feature from that specific data, and you want to make some feature engineering. So the result that you're going to get from the feature engineering is going to be a new source of, I mean, a new uh, addition on the data that you already have. So the importance is the more data, the more cleaner data that you have, the more your prediction is going to be the base. So it is going to help your model see things from different perspectives and from different simplified perspectives. Okay, so the feature engineering means from the provided data you can have, or you can drive another new feature. So that will just help you as an input. Okay. So mostly it's related with time, Sanyi. If you have time data, then you can extract the minute, the second from that specific data, and you can treat those features as a new column or as a new data instead of just collecting the second, the minute, the hour as just a date data. You can just say that second, minute, hour. So you need to make some feature engineering or extraction in order to get that data. Sanyi, I hope that is clear. If it is not clear, just I'm going to keep going on the comments. If it is not clear, then you can ask or you can raise your question. I mean your hand. Alabacho, how can I check the reliability of the data in each variable? The reliability of the data is like we're going to see that also, but you can check on the before the data preparation part. The data needs to be clean, which means you need to check whether there is no outlier. If there is no outlier, if there is no empty values, I mean, or if there is a minimum amount of those problems, like the outliers, the minimum values and things, then you can, and also checking the source, you can say that this data is more reliable because it's clean. So you need to check, like we're going to, there's a step called EDA or data analysis part, which is a major part. So we're going to go through that. So you can check whether that data is clean, reliable, and other things. So yeah, you need to make sure by just going through the data, whether it have missing values, whether it have outliers, whether it is unbalanced and something. So there are methods to check those types of problems. We're going to see it on the ED analysis part. Meanwhile, how can we identify the base model for the problem we're working? I guess somehow you need to test for different approaches still, but you're not going to check for all the models. You're going to make the best decision, the best two or the best three decisions of models, and then you can try, or you can place all the models. But for the rest of the question, we've, I guess, answered it before. Feature engineering improves model performance by creating, transforming, or selecting the most relevant data features or better prediction. The most relevant data features from the already provided data that we have. I guess Abdulaziz is trying to answer the Sengi's questions. Yeah, thank you. And they led that data. Can you make a slide full of screen? Okay, I'm sorry. Yishrun, modeling is also about discovering how diseases are related to each other. Is selecting the most relevant part of the feature engineering. Sengi, a lot of time features that are most predictive are not naturally in the dataset. Exactly. So when we engineer features, we are able to transform existing features that might have independently had poor prediction power but were engineered. Exactly. Nabil had answered it. Exactly. Okay, Abdulaziz, Nabil. How old you can make it for yourself? Just click the picture. Yeah, Frau is answering for Lidet. Thank you. I mean, there are. Please, let's finish the slides first and have. Yeah. I guess that is the best idea. Okay. So yeah, I guess like talking about this, we've also covered most of the questions. That's why I was just following the question also. Um, so we have just so the modeling part, we have classified the data, and we have just trained the model, evaluate the model performance, and check them on the accuracy. Okay, so then we come the evaluations, evaluating model performance on testing datasets. So we have just said that we have classified the data to the testing and training datasets. So assess model performance on unseen data to ensure generalizability. Those data are unseen data, but also part of the original data, right? So they are related with the data that the model have been trained on. So it needs to have, or it is a must to have a good performance on this type of data, so on the test data, so that we can see the performance of the model. And now we can compare the model performance, different model performance, and select the best performing model uh, based on the specific metrics, and analyze feature importance to understand which variable contributes most to the prediction. Identify key factors influencing customer trends. Yeah, this also had been said, so it will help us which specific factor or feature does have a direct relation with the objective that we're trying to analyze. So and then there's the deployment. So deploy the selected model into production, integrate the model into the telecom company system for real-time prediction. So now that can be part of the system. We're going to deploy it, and we're going to provide them as a part of the system. So if there's any new data, or if there is a data that they're trying to analyze, or a future performance they're trying to predict, then they can just use the already built system. So use the model to predict customer churn risk for all customers, identify high-risk customers, and offer targeted retention offers. And then the monitoring part will be, since we are, again, data is a sensitive thing, so through time, there is going to be different factors that are going to be affecting our data. The demographic factor, the country, economic factor, different factors. So continuous monitoring means you need to make sure that the specific model built or prediction built is still working fine for the current situation of the state. Okay, if not, we need to update the model prediction periodically to ensure it remains accurate and effective. So refine the model to adapt to changing customer behavior and market trends. So yeah, the seventh step will be the monitoring and the maintenance steps. So this is specific case study for the telecom analysis. So there might be different projects. So you need to align that with your own goal and specific scenario. I guess we can. This is the end of the slide. If there's Michael, you've raised your hand. If there's a question, now we can proceed to that. Shia, why 80 and 20%? Nabiland answered. I'm sorry. Proceed costs for different test data depends on quality of the data quality. Michael, if you're speaking, you can go on.
ይሰማል
ይሰማል
ማለት ከመጀመሪያ ጀምሮ ያሉትን ነገሮች ለማገናኘት እየሞከርኩ ነበር እና ሲጀመር የቢዝነስ አንደርስታንዲንግ አለ የቢዝነስ ፕሮብሌም እና ጎል አለ ከዛ በኋላ ኤፒአይ ሰሌክሽን እና ሰክሰስ ነው የሚቀመጥበት አለና ይሄን የዳታ ሳይንስ ፕሮሲጀር ተከትለን some kind of prediction ለመስራት ዳታ ሴቶች ዳታ ሴት ይሰጠናል አይደል እዛ ዳታ ሴት ላይ ዳታ ፖይንቶች አሉ ስለዚህ KPI key performance indicator for this matter አሁን ለቴሌኮሙ ከስተመርስ ቻርጅ ስንል የዛኔ ቴሌኮም ካምፓኒ አገልግሎት መጠቀም ያቆሙ ከስተመሮችን አይደለ እነሱን ሬት ለመቀነስ ነው አይደለ ጎላችን እነሱን ቀነስን ማለት የቀጣይ ያሉት ነገሮችን ስለ ፕሮፊት ፐርፎርማንስ ምናምን እየቀጠለ ይሄዳልና KPI ስንል ከነዚያም ከተሰጠን ከዳታ ሴት ውስጥ ካሉት ውስጥ የሆኑ ዳታ ፖይንቶች ናቸው ብለን ነው የምናወጣው ወይስ አክቹአሊ የኔ KPI ይሄ ነው ብዬ ተነስቼ ከዛ ካሉን ዳታ ፖይንቶች ላይ ለሱ ሞዴል ሰርተን ከዛ some kind of prediction ከሰራን በኋላ ነው የKPI ያነዛን
KPIs cannot come after the model prediction, or KPIs cannot come after you've just completed the work. KPIs are something that you're working in order to bring that thing. They're part of the goal. They're not something that you identify at the end of the project. So you've just mentioned it before. I mean, I feel like you've understood it well because you've just said that we're taking the number of churn for that specific company because we're trying to minimize that number, right? So exactly, while starting the project, that is our KPI, that is our goal. So whatever type of model, whatever type of data preparation and evaluation we're making, it is in order to meet that KPI that we have stated before. So KPI can never come before after the model prediction and after the end work, okay? They are part of the initial part of the work.
So in this case, the number of customers that are stopped using our services can be one of the data point of our data sets, right?
Oh.
So እንደዛ ከሆነ ለሁሉም ለእንደዚህ ለዳታ ሳይንስ ፕሮጀክቶች KPI ብለን አይደንቲፋይ የምናደርጋቸው ከተሰጡ ዳታ ሴት ውስጥ ያሉ ዳታ ፖይንቶች ናቸው ብለን ኮንክሉድ ማድረግ እንችላለን ወይስ?
Okay, I get your point. So like
ለምንድን ነው እንደዛ ብዬ ጠየቅኩት? መጨረሻ ላይ ካለን ዳታ ሴት ላይ ዳታ ፖይንቶች አሉ የነሱን ሪሌሽንሺፕ የሆነ ፓተርን አይተን አይደለ ከዛ ውስጥ because of this something happen አይነት ነገር የምንለው ማለት ነው እና
So
ኬፒአይም
like let's see another scenario in order to make it clear. I'm done, Mikhail. Somehow voice break yaragana, you're breaking. So let's say the scenario. Let's say that you're trying to identify the fraud. Trying to detect a fraud. Okay. So while trying to detect the fraud, the number of fraud that is made on a specific bank or insurance company, uh, you're just trying to see, yeah, the like how well the people are interacting with you, the type of payment they use, or their other characters. But you're not trying to use this specific column called what is the previous history. Were they proud or were they not? So like imagine we're trying to detect their whether they that customer is or whether that specific scenario is a fraud or not, but you're not trying to use that specific data point for training your model. So the okay, so the prediction specific predict የምታደርገው ነገር ምንድነው እዚህ ጋር whether that a customer specific customer called X is um, not a good customer or not, or the thing is a fraud or not. So that is the specific thing that you're trying to predict. Here, your KPI is to reduce the number of fraud, right? So, but inside the data point, there is nothing called fraud. You're just to analyze. You're just trying to analyze whether this is a fraud or not based on other scenarios. So it might not be always part of the data point. I guess it's clear. Like the thumbs up. Okay.
it's clear.
Okay. Okay. So pros cons for different proportions for taste. It depends on data quantity. I guess Nabil was trying to answer the why 80-20%. Can you justify? Not the number. It might not try to justify the 80-20, but obviously the number of training data sets should be maximum. Okay. Because you're just trying to train the model. The more data or the more training data set that you have, the more the model will understand the scenario of your data. So the training model should be the major one. So why is 20% still part of the data? Imagine you could just use 100% of the data to train the data, and using that 20% from that 100% to test, that is going to be easy for the model to predict it because it had just seen that type of data before. So it will just tell you the result, not from predicting it, but also from referring from the previous data that you gave him. So we need to make we need to make the 20% data that the model have not gone through before. That is the point in G. We could have used 100% of the model to train the model because we need more data in order to train models. So justifying it is going to be the more data that you're going to have, it is going to be the best for the model. So, but you need to use a minimum amount of data from the same data collection that you've trained the model, but they need to be new for the data. So in order to test them, just take the minimum amount of the data. I guess when if it is clear. Or if it's not clear, you can just also show us some sign. Nuriye, you can go. Nuriye Nugus, you can go.
Thank you. In my previous understanding, data science workflow and crisp DM, like to separate terሞች ይመስሉኝ ነበረ። like some data ወስደን እሱን ፕሪፔር አድርገን ሞዴል አድርገን የሆነ ፕሪዲክሽን የምንሰጥበት እና አሁን ከሌክቸሩ እንዳየሁት ግን የክሪስፕ ዲኤም ማለት ዋን ፍሬምወርክ ነው ለማን ለዳታ ሳይንስ ወርክፍሎ so there are other frameworks like KDP and OSCMN ግን data science workflow ላይ ስንሄድ like data collection data preparation ብለን exploration የሚላለው EDA ማለት ነው ግን ኢንክሪፕት ዲኤም ላይ ግን EDA የሚለው ፓርት የለም so እንዴት ነው እነዚህን ሀሳቦች ልናስታርቃቸው የምንችለው I mean ክሪስፕ ዲኤም ከተጠቀምን EDA መጠቀም አይጠበቅብንም ማለት ነው እንዴት ነው
Okay, so mention ሳያግ የነበረው again, that is why I was saying like on data on like seeing the two the CRISP model and data science workflow, you need to be we are still free to go through ADA. Like እነዚህን parts include ማድረግ አለባቸው ነው እንጂ for our specific scenarios and project that we're going to work with, it's not just we need to follow those specific states or steps. It's not a must, but we need to include those type of features. No, it's not rigid. So seeing the difference, you're right, data science workflow, I mean, CRISP DAM is part of data science workflow in that framework. And also sometimes it is said that actually CRISP DAM models have merged before that it's okay. So we have a very teenish amount of time. So we can also say that CRISP DAM model is literally before data science workflow በፊት የመጣ ነገር ነው as a framework. So very rigid ነው. So specific companies still for a already ለሚጠቀሙትን ነገር or EDA or other steps ለማያስፈልጋቸው ነገር follow የሚያደርጉት step ነው. Just it's also said it's ለብቻው data science workflow is the modern form of CRISP DAM model እና more flexible ነው. We can just use it again as a principle and as a model. They both follow, they are very በጣም similar የሆነ approach ነው የሚጠቀሙት. It is just for a company scenario, for a specific company እና for a specific case. CRISP DAM model for the ease of communication ይጠቀሙበታል. So like, why do we need to see both of them? It's ሁለቱንም approach, you can use them. They are easier to follow. They have a very similar type of approach to go to the in the goal. So it is not that different. Just it is to see both of them in G. They're not that different. So for our specific projects and for the projects that we're going to go through here, you can just see data science workflow as part of CRISP DAM model. So EDA part and other things need to be included because they are part of the data science workflow. So it's not that a big deal to see it. Some people say that CRISP DAM model is part of the data science workflow. The data science workflow in the big image with it's part of that below ይላሉ። So ግን the most CRISP DAM model has just emerged before the data science workflow, but they got the same type of concepts, not the same type of features. So like እኛ ለምንጠቀምባቸው scenario, it's not that deep, it's not that specify ማድረጋቸው, it's not that important, and they're not that different. So we can just use the both of them and the mixture of both of them in order to make our analysis. So on the projects that we're going to use EDA ምናምን አንዘልም. So there's nothing that we're going to jump because we're going to use the mixture of both the CRISP and the CRISP DAM and the data science workflow. Also we can see data science work, I mean CRISP model as part of it. Nuria, am I clear? So there's nothing that you need to jump. Just you
Yes,
need
you
to
are.
use a mixture of them.
ኦኬ ሶ ገና ፕሮጀክትን ከመጀመሪያ በፊት ክሪስፕ ዴም ፍሬምወርክ ነው እየተጠቀምኩ ብዬ ኢን ዘ ሚድል ግን ኢዲኤን መጠቀም እችላለሁ ማለት ነው።
Exactly.
Okay.
So the point is data science workflow የምናየው from the ይሄ እንዳንድ framework CRISP ዲም እንዳንድ framework እንደሆነው ሳይሆን, so what is the workflows በአጠቃላይ in general, since we're working with data science projects, what type of workflows are there በሚለው ነው as a title. Also on the detailed part, every mixture of workflows ነው apply እንድታደርግ የምንፈልገው እነዚህ. Also, we're going to use different type of projects በየሳምንቱ, so we cannot just decide ይሄ framework ብለን just have the idea.
Hi guys. Yeah, it was a connection problem. So she will be back. Just a couple of minutes, okay? Uh, just a couple of minutes, and she will be back. It's not. It's not over. Okay, I think slides we will share on Slack, so you can check there. Maybe is there any questions from your sides? I think like she has finished the session, but she was waiting for questions when the network was interrupted. So, uh, are there any questions? Do you have any questions for her? Yes, I think someone opened their mic. Any questions? Is it possible to get the format of the technical doc? I don't understand the question. What do you mean the format? Can you specify or the question? Oh, okay. The one that you want to you're gonna submit is that your question, like the format, what we expect. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we can share. Yeah, we will share on Slack. We will share on Slack. Just the basic, just the highlights or the titles and the subtitles. I think we can share. Yeah. Okay. I'll make sure to do that. Any other questions? If you don't have any other questions, I think yes. Sorry again. Uh, okay. I'm not sure about this one. Maybe.
I'm sorry. Hello. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think there is one question. Did you see it on the comment? Or if you just joined, let me just copy and send it up. So, can you see it now? I think Alabacho was asking this question.
Can SPSC automate machine learning workflow? And can we check the reliability through that? So, Alabacho, what is SPSS? I think you're trying to say crisp. አለባቸው. Maybe if you can write it again, it would be helpful. So meanwhile, if there are other questions, you can write it here or you can speak.
Hello.
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 Hello, Drums. I can hear.
I'm አለባቸው.
I'm sorry, አለባቸው.
Yeah. I want to say that can you check the relativity of the data through SPSS? As we know, we can check the relativity of SPSS, the relativity of the data through SPSS chromometry plus statistical package for social science. SPSS software developed through machine learning. So, can you check the relativity of the data through this software?
Okay, can you explain what SPSS is? What type of software it is?
This software statistical, the name stands for statistical package for social science. And
there's a disturbance of sound. Maybe if you can make it clear. Koala, there's a sound that I'm hearing.
ይሄኛው ሶፍትዌር የምንጠቀመው ማለት ነው ለምሳሌ ሞስትሊ ለዳታ አናሊሲስ ነው የምንጠቀመው ለሪግሬሽን አናሊሲስ እና ዳታ እንሰጠዋለን ሪሌቲቪቲውን ቼክ ያደርግልናል ራሱ ማለት ነው
ሪላያቢሊቲ ቼክ
ያደርጋል
yes so it's your point data preparation is automatic feature that identify fixed data issue, create new attributes, and I guess Abil Zalaga share gonna get it useful and optimize the data for modeling. No, you can't use that. So we are going to expect you to do the data processing in every part for the time being. Practical በሆነ way. So maybe I'm not sure how the metrics ነው የሚያስቀምጥላችሁ ከሆነ ምናምን we're going to check that ብቻ እኛ based on specific metrics ይሄ data prepared or this types of cleaning steps ያስፈልገዋል ምናምን ስትሉን we need to see the proof like okay what measurement have you done to see whether this data is clean or not እና የሚለውን we need a proof so yeah, for the time being you can consider that you can't use the software for the time being because we're not just trying to make statistical analysis
ሪሌ የፈለኩት ነገር ማለት ነው ሪሌቲቭ ሲያስቀምጥ በሜትሪክስ ነው ማለት ለምሳሌ ዳታ ሪሌብል ነው ሲል የሆነ ቁጥር አለ ከዚህ ቁጥር ላይ ከሆነ ያ ቁጥር በቃ ሪሌብል ያደርጋኛልና አሁን የአውትላየር ነው ከምን አንፃር ነው ለምሳሌ ይሄኛው በግራፍ ያሳየናል እንትኑ ማለት ነው ዳታውን ካስገባንለት የዳታው የእያንዳንዱ የገባውን ዳታ ዲስትሪቢዩሽን ያሳየናል ዳታ አውትላየር አለው ሜዠሬብል ነው ለማለት ፈለኩት አሁን ግን አምጭ ባልሽው ግን ሚሲንግ ዳታ ብቻ ነው እንጂ ወይስ በምንድን ነው እንትን የምናደርገው ዳታ ሪሌብል መጀመሪያ ሪግሬሽን ከማዳችን በፊት ያ ነው ዳታ ሪሌብል ነው ለማለት እንዴት ነው ማለት
ነው አናሊሲስ እንሰራለን so we're going to while exploring the data ማለት probably the same thing that the system the SPSS is doing is doing for you like on the background is taking the data እና ምን ያክል empty ወይ ደግሞ ምን ያክል missing values እንዳሉት ምን ያክል outlier ምን ያክል normally ወደ distribution እንደሌለው ነው measure የሚያደርገው for sure so that method is like exploring your data using column analyze ማድረግ using Python ማለት ነው like you can just analyze the column you can analyze the whole data you can calculate the mean and how far all the data are far from the mean million calculate በማድረግ so there are different methods you're going to use Python for that and like that spaces so the point is as a statistical person you can just use any software and you can just put the እንደዚህ like as a technical person or as a person who's doing the financial analysis on a and like predicting something who's trying to predict something so you need to use Python and you need to understand the background how data comes the source and the other things so You need to go through the whole process. So meanwhile, it might be useful, it might be, so like people are saying that it is user friendly statistical software and things, so you might need to it, you might use it for verification. እና ደግሞ የሆነ ሰዓት ላይ you also might convert to that, I don't know. ግን for the time being እኛ the same thing that you're going to use for your prediction and not for the I mean የዛኔ እሱንም ፓይተን ተጠቅማችሁ ነው የምትሰሩት. So the same way we need to make you to explore, we need you to make the data exploration and the handling those steps through Python. So that's what. Sure. Is there other question? If not, I guess we can end it here. Are we going to, yes, not two assignments, two submission. One assignment, interim submission, not final submission for that specific assignment. And to get him, Said can't join Slack because I'm not getting email confirmation where to ask support. You can ask Makda, the court manager. Tag her, you can tag her and you can ask that question for her. Okay, you can Slack join my regal circle. So maybe you can send me your email, your name, and things so I can send her also. What about the time management? Okay. Yeah, the career, the technical and the non-technical assignments. Yes, I was just referring for the technical assignment. Yes, exactly. You're going to include the non-technical assignments too. How do assignment independent challenge work? You're going to submit it on the 10x platform. Independent challenge work, but yeah, every challenge is independent for this week as long as I know. So you can make the submission on the 10 Academy platform. Any other question, you guys?
ጥያቄ አለኝ።
Okay.
አንድ ጥያቄ አለኝ።
እሺ።
ዳታ አንደርስታንዲንግ ፓርት ላይ ዋን ኦፍ አንደርስታንድ የምናደርገው ከዳታችን ላይ ሚሲንግ ዳታዎችን አይደንቲፋይ ማድረግ ነው አይደለ? የዳታ ክሊኒክ ፓርት ላይ ደግሞ እነዛ ሚሲንግ ቫልዩዎችን ምንድን ነው የምናደርገው? ሪሙቭ ነው የምናደርገው ወይስ ፊል ነው የምናደርገው? እሷ ነገር ግልጽ ስላልሆነች
እሱንም we're going to see like ኢዴ ስንሰራ so handling missing values remove ማድረግም ሊሆን ይችላል በሌላ ቫልዩ መተካት ሊሆን ይችላል. So it depends on the situation. Like if you have a very large amount of missing value, የትኛው ነው the best option የሚለው? So if it is like and column ከሆነ or most missing value ያለባቸው አንድ column ላይ ከሆኑ then it might be the best decision might be to remove that column because most of the data that we're expecting from that information is not there. Good ደግሞ if the missing values are distributed in every column side in every features እና ትናንሽ ነምበሮች ከሆኑ then instead of losing those old datas bringing them to the mean value ወይ ደግሞ impute ማድረግ might be the better ወይ ደግሞ the best decision. So እሱ ልንወስድ እንችላለን. So missing value አንድ measurement የለውም የምንወስደው. So እንዴት ነው ሃንድል የምናደርጋቸው based on ምን ያክል available ናቸው ምን ያክል important ነው ያ column ከሚለው አንፃር we might take different type of decisions, not specific decision.
Thank you.
Sure. Is there other question? If not, I guess we can end here. Kerod, are you there?
Yeah, but I think there are some questions on the chat.
Okay. There's Tigist. I will take that. Once let me take that and Mm. I'm sorry, what?
Okay, like I think Shalom.
Yeah, I will just be back. I'm trying to paste the name that I've took from somewhere, because I'm on
No,
my phone, as I'm not that.
no,
It's not. Let's say
yeah,
what I'm saying.
I'm not on that one. Like I'm actually answering the second one.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Shalom. So Shalom, yeah, independent challenge work. I think you are referring to the on the Notion, right? On the Notion. So if you are referring to the slot or the card on the Notion, that's just time for you to work on the project. So independently, you're gonna work on the challenge work. Yeah, for the assignment basically. So if you are referring to something else, please correct me and I will answer. And you have one question related to the submission checker. Even if we used the correct Git version control on the branch of the task, the checker still assumes Git version control has not been used properly. So this is not correct. No, like I don't think you're gonna have this problem because so you're gonna submit your GitHub link. So on your GitHub, we already know that you have used your Git version control, but the question is not clear for me. Maybe I don't know, maybe, but of course, like one issue that I would like to just raise here is almost always make sure that you have merged your work into the main branch. Okay, so maybe if that's your question, because you have also mentioned branch, maybe if that's your question, yeah, of course you have to merge your branches to the main after you're done with your branches. But the quality of version, maybe if you can open your mic and speak, I think that would be better. Where can we get the assignment question? So, Samrait, have you logged in into your Linux account? You will find it in the challenge section. Okay, yes, so you please.
Yeah, so hello everyone. So my question is, so whenever you do a submission via the GitHub link, it gives you an analysis. So there are metrics that says interim code organization and so on. And so there is a matrix that says interim use of version control, and it marked it as 0, and I don't understand because it says no evidence of meaningful version control usages as multiple commits, branching or detailed commit messages present. This says this. I don't understand why this is happening.
Okay.
I used all the branches, but it's just
yeah. Okay. I think it's better. I think the question is clear. So we will check it. So one thing you have to know is there will be a manual check on the on the marks. So sometimes it might make some mistake, but one thing you have to make sure is if you have commits, at least 3 or 4 commits on your interim, and if you have a couple of branches, you should be good. So maybe it's something wrong with the LLM. We will check. Okay. Yes, Phantom. Yeah, independent challenges are the assignments. So the assignments are independent challenges. But I don't understand the question. But yeah, so if you are asking if the assignments are independent challenges, yes, they are independent challenges. But if you are asking about the time slot in the Notion calendar that we gave you, yeah, it's just for you to work on So there will not be any sessions in that time slot. So it's just for you to independently work on the challenge. Of course, you can communicate and share resources between each other, but it should be independent at the end of the day. Okay. So any other questions, or are we good? Can we end the session here? Yes, you will. Yes, again, you have raised your hand. You can speak. Eyob, sorry. Oh, sorry, Eyob. We do have a Q&A, sorry, a stand-up, I think in 30 minutes, but no. Okay, Eyob, do you have a question, or was that a mistake? Okay, I'm gonna assume that's a mistake. And no, that's not, Daniel, it's not the correct link to the 10x. I think, let me share it for you here. So this is for the link, okay? Yeah, of course it is. I think it's already open. Like, I have to check, but if you are ready, we can open it. I will check with the team, and you can. I think UL has already submitted, so it should be open. Will
Can I ask? Can I ask?
yes.
Okay, two things. One is, for frankly speaking, we are from so many backgrounds, so most of us have no idea about. Even I heard the word gig hub here in your platform. So for more clarity and for more understanding, it's better to make it with easy language. So this the even more we have something some background on research. We may know about the data, but some languages are or some terminologies are very hard to us. So the one who present the material it's better to make it very low with understandable words. This is my first question. The second is I created 10x account, but still I haven't got document there. So to submit on the due date, I may suffer. So if the
I'm
document
sorry.
you don't.
I think you were breaking up on the last part. So you have created. So you have signed it into your 10x account.
Yes, but there is no document there. I haven't got the document.
It should be there. Maybe. Okay. Maybe you can contact Barakat on Slack.
Okay.
So you are on Slack, right? So
Yes,
contact
yes.
Barakat or Mahalit or Magda, and they should be able to help.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And for your first question, of course, we do know that there are a lot of people from different backgrounds. So we do try to make it as available or as easy as possible. So, and we will, I think we have to try harder. So we will do that as well. So, but like, it's better that you ask these questions more frequently so that we will know which part is harder, and we can iterate on that one on this, even on the tutorial, on the schedule. But if you want, you can actually ask for an additional session with the tutors. If you have any questions or if there's anything that's not clear, you can find the tutors on Slack and just ask them for questions, and we will be more than happy to help. And Galila, yes, every video is going to be posted on YouTube, and PowerPoint is going to be shared on Slack. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think it's, I think we can end the session here. Okay, thank you guys. Have a great day and see you later.